I'm gonna do my makeup, play with some products and chat about my life with chronic pain and fatigue and bizarre health things, because it's all kind of kicking off again and I'm starting again on a bit of a journey with it all. And I find when I talk about it on my Instagram, I get a lot of responses about this. People who are going through it, know people going through it, people who are like, oh my god, I didn't know you were like going through that, like appreciating me like bringing it to light, because some people don't understand much about these things and I am massively struggling with it all. So I thought, yeah, why not make this a bit of a thing? Within my makeup and whatever content, I'm gonna kind of talk about my journey with all of this, because I found as well, like, talking to other people about it online can be really helpful. Like, they'll tell me things that I haven't figured out or why are you so funny, or tried out, you know. So yeah, here we go. I want to start doing my makeup, but I don't want to put you down. This is Baloo, by the way, if you don't know. It's Baloo's world and I just live in it. If I put you down on my lap or beside me, will he stay or will he leave me? Sometimes if you're not giving him like 100% attention, he's like, no thanks, and he'll go. Now, as soon as I put him down, it was blurry, but you could see his butt, he left. I'm now covered in dog hair, but that is just life, deal with it. Where do I even begin? So I always just struggled with like weird random things growing up. I'm not gonna go into them all, but definitely always had a lot like back pain and stuff, especially into my teenage years. And then like by the time I was around maybe like 17, and it was like always bothering me because I was a really active kid. I really enjoy sport. I went to stage school, so I did like every type of dancing you could think of. And these back pains and things would just honestly drive me crazy. I'd often get ill, often get injured, like, but yeah, I could go on for hours about things. I used to also like faint when I was a little kid all the time. Don't know if this is linked at all to what's going on with me now, but do you know what I mean? There's just always been weird things with me. I'm icing my face here because my face literally hurts. That's part of the pain situation, and I found this helps a bit. But anyway, when I was like 17, maybe 16, 17, the whole back pain situation just started getting absolutely bloody unbearable. I found at stage school like I couldn't keep up with everyone like I used to. I got to a point where I was like, I always thought this would be like a career of mine, you know, performance, dancing, etc. But I got to a point where I was like, evidently right now this is not what I can do. So life went on, pain just got worse and worse. You know, my back especially, but just, it could just be everywhere. And I remember 18, 19, I just had a year from hell where I just crashed and burned. It's like the pain and fatigue like hit me like a bus and I could just barely get out of bed. So went through the doctors. They were absolutely terrible, GPs. They were just like this, that, oh, it's just your mental health, this and that. I was on antidepressants and stuff, but that's like all they would focus on. And then eventually my older sister, because this problem with the chronic pain, fatigue and stuff really runs in my family, she had seen this rheumatologist and she told him about me having all the same problems and being like 9 years younger than her. And he was like, I want to see her, like I'm interested in seeing like siblings with the same issues. So that is the only way I got seen. I was just being completely fobbed off. They were even saying, well, yeah, we'll just say that we think you do have fibromyalgia, so there's nothing anybody will do. That honestly left me in such a shit, hopeless place. I'm just popping on some magic cream now. Charlotte Tilbury, love this stuff. And look, my friend got me this one for Christmas and it's personalised. How cute! Like, I'm forever keeping it, it's just Christmas forever. This is the Tilbury Factor 50 primer situation. If I don't mention a product because I'm in the middle of talking, I will list it. So yeah, because of my sister, I got to see this rheumatologist. And actually, as I sat down and I was talking to him, like, he was talking to me and then he just like took my hand and he just had my fingers like this. And he was like, you're definitely hypermobile, I can tell just by looking at your fingers. And I was like, really? And I was like, well, they're a bit wonky. Don't know if you can tell, like, the ends of my fingers all do this. I can do all the weird flexible things. So he's going through all sorts of stuff, but then he gets me up. So he gets me up, he's looking at my back, and he's like, oh my, like, you've obviously got scoliosis. Has anyone told you you've got scoliosis, by the way? I'm going to try this out. The new Be Perfect Chroma foundation. This is like the medium coverage one. The other one was like super full coverage. This one's supposed to be a bit more chill, like glowy. Anyway, I've got two shades, so I'm just going to decide which one to try. They sent me like my tan shades, so I put a bit of wash off on my neck and my hands and did not pay attention when putting it on my hands. It has not gone well. Yeah, medium coverage soft filter, this is meant to be. This is N5 and this is W7, which I think is like neutral 5 and warm 7. See what we think is better. I mean, Don't know what they look like on camera, but to the eye they look pretty similar. I think I could go with either. This is the cocoa sponge that everyone talks about. It's actually unreal, I'm obsessed with it. But yeah, let's see what this foundation's like. Back to the rheumatologist. He said, he was like, your back is like ridiculously curved. I can't believe no one's ever mentioned that to you. He was quite astonished, even like looking at the way my knees go. I probably won't be able to show you in the trousers I've got on. But basically, like when I stand straight, like I have to force myself to stand straight. Naturally, my knees just bend back like that. Like I have proper banana legs. Like when I just stand relaxed, they like bend backwards like that. I feel like I need more of this foundation. I don't feel like it went far. This is 3 more pumps I have. That's looking a bit better. Chatted to him about loads of stuff, but basically he was like, I want you to have an MRI so I can really get a good look at your spine. So he sent me for an MRI. I'm very claustrophobic, so that was a wild experience. I feel like I could do it again now fine, but then I was like, oh my god. Oh, I think this looks really pretty. It's very glowy and I can get quite oily. I'm a bit combo, but let's see when I've got the rest of my products on. But it does look really pretty, doesn't it? I get the results of the MRI, I'm back with the rheumatologist, and he's like, yeah, like you've definitely got scoliosis. I've got quite a big curve at the top, a curve at the bottom which isn't as dramatic, but the curve at the top is more of a drama. And I think he also said mine's like slightly twisted. So it's not exactly just an S, it's kind of like an S but also like a bit, like if I sit naturally, like I feel like this shoulder comes up, this shoulder's down, and I'm like turned to the right, but my hips are turning to the left. I don't know how clear it is on camera, but I definitely need some extra coverage just where I've got some little breakouts and kind of like redness and scars left over from my acne. I'm going to use NARS Soft Matte Concealer in Ginger, just kind of where I need that extra insurance. I do find where I've got so much like acne scarring on my cheeks, which not a lot of it's super visible, but it's just like, you know how scarring is a bit of a different texture, often product just doesn't grip as well, so even though it looks alright now, I can tell like that won't last as long in those areas. So yeah, I go in with a concealer like NARS Soft Matte, as I say, just to give me extra insurance for later, because I know that they're not going to stay covered, there's not going to be that grip. Now I'll just pat my sponge over it to make sure it's blended in. Back to the monkey spine. He's like, yeah, telling me about the scoliosis, and then he's like, and we've found something else. As you can imagine, my heart fell out of my arse. I lost the ability to breathe and thought I was about to be given a death sentence. And he's like, you have a Chiari malformation? I'm like, excuse me, sir? And he's like, basically, your brain protrudes out the bottom of your skull. Again, I'm like, I'm gonna die! Internally. It's like I was internally screaming, but on the outside, I think I was just like, oh, I had to go and check on Blue because he has these like episode fit type of things every so often that we're having to keep an eye on. And I just heard him making weird noises, but he was just dreaming. So he explained a little bit more about the Chiari, but I feel like my brain was just mush and couldn't really take much in. But he then sent me to see a neurologist. I met these 2 guys who work on brains and spines. They had a good look at my MRI, etc., and at me, and chatted through stuff. They decided basically that my Chiari did not need operated on, that it's very minor, and that with my scoliosis, like the risks outweighed the benefits for me. It would be a fiddly, tricky one to fix. Need to basically be like fused together with metal rods, like nearly my whole spine, because they said if they did the top one, which is like the biggest curve, then it would knock the smaller curve on the bottom out, and I'd have a bigger curve on the bottom, which would cause me more problems. So I'd have to do like both, and I'd have to like learn to walk again. The pain is awful, but not bad enough, I feel, to go through that. I said really I only needed to go back and see them if I was having like crazy neurological symptoms, like just blacking out and all sorts of chaos. They also said if I ever have babies to not give birth naturally and have a C-section, because supposedly the pushing whilst in labour can make your brain kind of implode because of the pressure on the already protruding tonsils of the brain. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, thanks for that heads up. I only went back to see them once when my right arm started like dropping when I was doing makeup. As you can imagine, I was very distressed about this. Yeah, I'd just be like doing makeup and my arm would just be like dropping. So they had a good look at me, but they just decided it was like a pinched nerve in my like arm shoulder because my shoulders wander off a bit, and it did eventually correct itself. Other than that, haven't seen them since. But basically got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, hypermobility syndrome and a Chiari malformation. I have set myself quite a bit with this foundation. I'm not someone who loves a ton of powder, but I just feel like it was a little bit too dewy for how oily I get. So I feel like once I start getting a bit oily, it's all warming up on my skin, a little bit of glow will come through. But by powdering it down now, it means hopefully I won't end up looking like a sweaty beast. So this is a Milani Baked Bronzer. I think it's number 5. I really like a glowy bronzer. Like even if you don't want a little bit of shimmer in there. I love like the MAC mineralized skin finishes in like Give Me Sun, etc. for bronzing. I don't know, I just feel like they bring a bit of skin like quality back to your skin. They're not just this like matte powder. I don't always like massively dramatically contour my cheeks, but I do just like to add a bit of warmth through here to give a little bit of depth and a little kind of push up of the cheek. So I've been on different medications, I've been on all sorts of different painkillers. What I've found is my body is very resistant to painkillers, so like I can take a ridiculous amount of codeine which would have someone else on the floor and it barely touches the pain for me, which a lot of people with this kind of like chronic pain and this type of pain, like it's very like nervy and like muscular. Painkillers in general don't work that well for this type of pain. So even though I'm quite like resistant to the pain killing aspect of them, I'm just generally quite sensitive to medication. Like I get other side effects and stuff. Like some just make my fatigue so much worse, which is just hellish. My brain cannot work. Others just make me feel really nauseous. But basically in the end I found what worked for me majority of the time was getting up, pushing through the pain and fatigue. And I started like going and doing photo shoots, so like, you know, like TFP photo shoots, like time for print. So I would like work with like local photographers and models on shoots, and it was just something to get me up and get me out. Like even if I was in agony, I would somehow manage to pull myself together and get there. And even if afterwards like I came back and had to get in a bed in agony and cry, like there was this sense of I'd achieved something, almost like the endorphins from getting out and doing something would actually help in a way. And I found the more I gradually built that up, the more I could do. So I honestly feel like makeup kind of saved me. I'd worked on makeup counters before this, but yeah, I literally had to leave work, you know, when that kind of pain hit me for like, when the pain and fatigue hit me really bad for like a year. I just had to come away from working and give myself a break to like rebuild my body to a place where it could function. Oh my god, this camera is going out of focus so much. I'm so sorry if this video isn't very focusy. Yeah, I tried different medications, different things, seeing chiropractors, getting massages, acupuncture. I love acupuncture, but it is all so crazily expensive. It's really hard to do all of the time. Like heat helps, stretching helps. I have all sorts of apparatus to help me like stretch out my back, have heat, all sorts, honestly. I have very, very oily eyelids, so I am going to use a MAC paint pot in Soft Ochre. Just gives you a really clean, concealed base, and it just has this like lovely soft matte finish. So I find my oils don't come through too much and shadows just blend lovely over it. I know some people really like something quite sticky, like the P. Louise bases. I do not. Like if I want it to be really sticky on my lid, say for like a good shimmer, a really grip, I will use like the NYX or Barry M glitter glue, which they're like liquid and cream products that the product will go onto and they'll set. I don't like a sticky eyeshadow base. I just feel like the eyeshadows move around too much and my eyelid is too oily for it, so I'm not a big fan. I've lost where I'm at in my story. I think I was going to say taking myself on the odd shoot, building up that work. It just massively helped me like get up and feel like I had some worth and that my life was more than just my pain and my fatigue. Even if, you know, I had to push through or come back and feel awful afterwards, getting myself there and managing to do it like hugely helped me. Now I'm going to use my eyeshadow palette. This is my brand, No Filter Beauty. Hashtag ad own brand. Pretty wonderful eyeshadow palette, if I do say so myself. I'm just going to do something like super soft and matte. I'm going to go in with my favourite soft tan shade here, which is always the first one to go in the palette. I should have made it like a huge eyeshadow because I use it with like every look to kind of to start off doing that little eye contour. But yeah, I want to carve out and sculpt my crease a little bit, kind of fake it. I have quite a low crease, like a slight hooded eye, and one's a bit more hooded than the other, so I like to kind of build the depth in here and kind of like fake that lift in the eye, like fake the shadow. So yeah, it's basically eye contour, and you're not just like placing eyeshadow anywhere for the hell of it. There's reasons. But I built myself up to the point where I could work a lot more. Kept pushing and pushing, tried different medications. There's times in my life where I've needed it, times where I haven't, or I've only had like painkillers that I need to take on occasion. I did have a favourite, but it's no longer available on the NHS. They decided it was too addictive for people, which I really wish they could have done on a case-by-case basis, because they often wouldn't even let me get it on a repeat because I didn't get it often enough. That's how little I was taking it, but it was effective when I did need to take it. But anyway, so they gave me a different one where they were like, oh, this will be similar, naproxen, and they have to give you like stomach protectants with it because it can really mess with your stomach lining. So I did everything they asked of me. I was talking on Instagram about how they'd give me that painkiller instead, and everyone was like, don't do it, it gave me stomach ulcers, don't do it, it caused this for me. And I was like, they've put me on stomach protectants with it, like I'll be fine. Nope. I ended up with a damaged stomach lining and had gastritis for months. Nearly had to get a camera down on my stomach, and ever since I'm just like a very acidy person. But I went through hell, so that was fun. So ever since I've just tried to manage on codeine, like if and when, but I hate codeine. It doesn't do a lot for me. I have to take a lot of it very consistently to even get it to take the edge off the pain, and it just feels pointless. It makes me feel crap. It makes me really itchy. It makes like me want to itch my nose and just scratch everywhere. It's not a vibe. But I've basically managed the best I can. Got busier and busier with work. Mad things have gone on with my career. I was in London all the time for work, so I decided to move down there. Well, I moved to Essex, lived in Essex for 5 years and lived in chaos. Managed to pull through somehow, but I was doing a lot of TV stuff, and it's like, can be like 18-hour days. I was just working non-stop. I would just work, crash and burn, work, crash and burn. Had a great time doing the work. I think I was definitely massively struggling, but was at this point of like, oh, you're booked and busy, you're successful. Like this industry, like the minute that you start saying no to clients, like they will book other people because obviously they need to. Like the world doesn't stop when you can't go. They need someone else, and they build relationships with those people. They like their work, and you know, they might start working with them more often. It's sad, but it's the way it is. So you feel this need to like constantly say yes to everyone. And then lockdown happened and I crashed and burned. I was absolutely not well, mentally or physically. I think my whole body and mind just went into this like state of shock over stopping with the chaos. Also made me realise I was massively struggling and just muddling my way through it when really I had not been okay or looking after myself at all, and just prioritising work and clients over like my own life and feeling okay. Luckily I had my wonderful now husband, you know, to go through all of this with me, but it was bloody hard. Also like struggling with chronic pain and fatigue and so many health issues. I haven't even said in this video so far about all of the things, the crazy things that have happened with my body and my health over the years. Like it's just non-stop insanity. A million blood tests, a million things wrong with me. Even one of them was me randomly becoming allergic to the red ink in a tattoo I'd had for 12 years and having to get the whole thing cut out of my foot because I had a hole in my foot for a year. Like my life's been chaos, but the video is not long enough. The day is not long enough to fit in everything that's happened to me. So I'm really giving you like a synopsis. It may seem long. It's nothing in comparison to the real thing. But COVID times were very scary for anyone like me who has had so many health problems. Basically, whenever I get ill with a virus or anything else, it's like 10 times worse for me, because as well as the virus and whatever else is going on with me, I also end up in a massive flare with all of my other health problems. So the chronic pain, the fatigue, everything kicks off and everything is just tenfold, and I can be really slow to like recover from things. Back to talking about makeup, I know that the white eyeliner trend's massive right now. I am someone who does not look great with white eyeliner on. If you are the same but you want that bright-eyed look, try a nude one instead. This one's from Charlotte Tilbury. What's it called? Rock and Coal Iconic Liquid Eye Pencil. I Cheat? I don't know what the actual name is. They don't make it clear. Is I Cheat the name? I don't know. But basically, it's like a creamy nude rather than white. You get a similar effect, but I think you just don't look as scary. So yeah, as you can imagine, my body copes really bad with viruses. I will catch anything going, and my body will accept it like one of its own and keep it for a long time. I didn't know when the hell I should be going back to work. I also felt very anxious about going back to work because of my health, but also because I was like, is this what I want anymore? Like, I don't think I was happy, which you feel like such an arsehole for, because yeah, you know, living the dream, what every makeup artist wants, yeah, on all of these shoots, red carpet stuff, TV stuff, and that's not working down the mines, right? But it's a hard slog, and it's an industry of a lot of like egos and pressure and divas. Just wanted to do nice makeup and have a nice time. Now I was holding a palette and I'm switching to a smaller thing to hold to look down at the mirror because my arm was in pain. That's my life. So yeah, I was having this absolute like crisis of, is this what I want anymore? Can I physically and mentally cope with this chaos anymore? Obviously got COVID as soon as I went back outside. My body dealt with it horribly in many ways, but thank goodness I didn't end up hospitalised or anything like that. It was just really rubbish and it took me a long time to recover from it. For my physical and mental health, I was like, I don't think I can do this like I used to. And I think I need to be back like near my friends and family. Like, I just want a life again, like rather than this just existing for my career. So we moved back to the Toon, and moving back here I was very stressed about it, like career wise. I was kind of going through this weird like career grief and panic about whether to come back, what to do. And I had a therapist at the time, and they were just like, can you seriously talk about what's the worst thing that could happen here? And I was like, well, you know, all my clients in London might drop me because I don't live there anymore, and you know, I'd just have to focus on doing like bridal makeup, things like that in the northeast. And she was like, okay, let's think about this logically. Worst case scenario, you have to go and get people glam on like the best day of their lives and make them feel great. She was like, really? She was like, it's like a it's like an ego thing really, which is fair. Like, you've built up this career for yourself, but you're worrying more about what other people will see as a failure rather than what actually makes you happy. And I was like, girl, you are good at your job, that's true. And also she was like, you know what? The clients who do want you are the ones you do want to work with, and the ones that don't and move on, then like, it's okay. So we packed up our lives back to Newcastle. So I've been travelling back and forwards to London, etc., working on shoots and whatnot, which has been great, and there's still been so much demand, which, you know, I can't thank my clients enough for, that they want me to travel down the country for them. And I think I felt this like big pressure in the build up to my wedding to like just keep working and making lots of money and this and that. And I was just constantly crashing and burning. I was taking on too much. I think I kept telling myself like, oh, it's like wedding stress making this harder, because in between work and trying to have a social life, I'm organising all the wedding stuff and this and that. And then the wedding happened and I was like, right, I'm gonna have so much more time and energy and I'm not going to be stressed as much. Actually, I ended up a couple months in just having a bit of a breakdown. I was just an emotional mess. I was just like "Rah!" all the time. And actually one of my best mates had a word with me and she was like, can I just have a word? You're absolutely not well and your job is making you very unwell. Like, you're miserable and someone needs to tell you. And I was like, ah! And then I was like, you're right. Mini egg break. Best things on the planet, honestly. So that's where I decided, I was like, look, I need to cut back on work more so that I'm like crashing and burning less in between work and can actually try and function and have a life. I'd also decided in the midst of all this that I very much think that I have ADHD or something of the likes, and I feel like I had denied that being me for a very long time. But I think it's also one of the reasons, on top of the pain and fatigue, as to why I mentally crash and burn so much, because I'm so all over the place. I feel everything so intensely. I take on everyone around me's like feelings, like I just absorb them and drain myself and have all this anxiety and can't get things done. I just leave everything to the last second. I'm in chaos. I'm not gonna deeply go into all of that in this video, but I am also waiting to see the psychology team. So I'm gonna do a bit of Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm in Peachgasm. It's really soft and subtle, like it's peachy, and it doesn't have like a massive amount of colour. If you like a bit of something on your cheeks, but you don't like to be like, whoa, with colour, then this could be the one for you. But the glow in it is like so peachy and cute. I love it. I'm gonna press this out with a stippling brush. Focus! Pat that out, bit down the nose. This is the new Pillow Talk Matte Beauty Blush Wand in Peach Pop, and it's gonna kick up the peach. So this has the glow, but this has the colour. I'm gonna pop this on. I love peachiness. I know everyone really like pushes like pink cheeks, pink lips. I do a bit of the pink, but peach to me will always be the one. You see that colour? It's almost like a bit corally, isn't it? But anyway, back to my nervy bee. Ever since I've been trying to cut back on work, trying to sort my life out, and I just feel like, again, there's just been this massive crash and burn that hasn't come from exactly stopping. I think it's like the result of doing too much before and then trying to stop and sort myself out, and then still going back into chaos on shoots and stuff. I'm just trying to find some sort of balance and massively struggling because my mind and body are just a bit of a mess. So I know I'm talking like all alright right now, but I feel like you learn to put on a performance a lot of the time. Like even when I'm in pain, when I'm feeling horrendous, it's like I can go somewhere and put on a show. And I think that's why you come back and you crash so bad mentally, because you've drained yourself putting on this mad performance, and it just naturally happens. Like I come on camera and I'm like la la la, just acting okay, and I feel like I really need to start showing when it is bad. Now I'm not having too much of a bad pain day, whereas last night I included an image because I thought to myself, I need to show it sounds so stupid in this moment, but I was thinking about how I need to film this video and I need to start doing this content, and I was like, I need to show how bad it is, as stupid as it feels in the moment of when you're feeling horrendous and you're crying. I was like, I need to show this for people to understand how it is for people like me. So I picked my phone up anyway to like look at the time and to try and distract myself while I was rolling around in pain in bed last night. We're talking like I'm in pain from head to toe. Like, you know, like when you've got the flu and everything just aches. My pain is always the worst in the very top of my back, in my shoulders, and like up into my neck. Some people call it like this coat hanger pain. Like imagine there's a coat hanger in your back and that is just agony. It's just this stabbing, like spasming, like you feel like it's like turning your spine. It's absolutely unbearable. Like you can't think. The pain now comes from my back all up around my ears, up into my jaw and like into my face. I was just rolling around in pain, trying everything I do to help myself, and it was just hell. This image here is a better example of how I am on a day-to-day basis and how I'm dealing with life than this right now. And this is the person that people see majority of the time, and I'm like, that is not who I feel like most of the time. By the way, this is Nakey Lip Kit, again a no filter beauty product, hashtag ad unbrand. I literally picked out these shades for this lip kit because I was so sick of every nude lip kit being pink. Also, Project Lip have just sent me their new lip oil. So it's a lip oil, but it's also plumpy. I did try out yesterday with one of their lip liners and it is lovely. Look at that big juicy applicator. But yeah. Ooh, pretty. Can you see I'm already starting to get shiny around the places I don't love to be shiny. It does look nice, it's just not my kind of thing. I like to be more matte through here if I can be. I'm gonna do a very quick hair spruce. This is like what I do if I want my hair to look nice and I don't have a lot of time. I'm using this T3 tong. I absolutely love this thing. I will write down and link exactly which one it is because I cannot remember the name of it right now. I don't know where I was in the video, so I'm gonna just give you like a quick update as to where I am now with life, with my health, and what's going on and why I'm starting a bit of this journey. So at the minute, the pain and fatigue flare-ups are just constant. I am very much drained, very much not well mentally or physically, and I can't get it to calm down. I can't get it to stop. All the usual things that help are not helping really in a big enough way. I have been back at the doctor's, back at my GP, saying like, hey, not coping at all, what the hell can we do here?
Hello.
Hey, come say hi, my precious.
Hello.
Hi. But Rosie's a very precious goose.
This is the Diaz show.
The Diaz show, oh yeah. We are the Santos Dias.
Well done.
He likes it when I say it the correct Portuguese way instead of Dos Santos Dias.
You're pretty, you know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're pretty too.
Come on.
So cute.
Yes.
But yeah, basically I'm now saying about how I've been back at the doctor's. What I was telling the GPs, Rosie, wasn't it? That I'm not coping anymore. That the pain and fatigue is just way too much to manage myself. I want help managing it. And also, personally, I'm kind of trying to chase the right diagnosis. That's the word I'm talking about. Because I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. What else? Everything.
Fibro, I know it, but it's just not coming up.
Hypermobility syndrome.
Hypermobility syndrome, that's it.
And my Chiari malformation.
Yeah, that's it.
And then I've said there's been a million different chaotic things with my health in between, but they were kind of like my main diagnoses from him, wasn't it? From the rheumatologist all those years ago. But I would like to be seen again because I feel like it's been a lot of years, a lot more's gone on with my health, and I think a lot more things point towards me having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome rather than just hypermobility syndrome. Because I'm also being looked at for potentially having endometriosis, stuff like that. All sorts of things. I've had like stomach issues, all sorts of stuff, haven't I, Roo? Like all chaotic.
She's a broken woman.
Chaotic things with my health. Even like issues with my skin and everything. And like someone was saying to me, my whole, you know, like my foot not healing and everything, like that could be linked to Ehlers-Danlos, someone was telling me. So I would like to be looked at to see if I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which the first GP I saw just said, oh, well, you wouldn't really be treated any differently, it's not worth looking into. Whereas I think there's a lot more issues with my health that would tie in together if I just had the correct diagnosis, and I think that's fair. I'm not kind of saying like, oh, if you give me the right diagnosis, there'll be a magic tablet or a magic way to fix this. Because the first GP, wasn't she, Rosie, was still a bit like, she was willing to help me and just send me back to the chronic fatigue team and all these different things. But she was a bit more like, oh, you know, you need to kind of like accept this is your life. And I've accepted this as my life.
It's ridiculous. I'm
not saying I want a diagnosis because I want to say, oh, everything's going to be different. It's more like, I think it's absolutely fair to get the right diagnosis, isn't it? Yeah, and like, know what's going on, so...
Rather than being just told that, like, get on with it.
Yeah.
With your little pains and
you,
blah, blah, blah.
You crack on.
Crack on.
Well, my body's done with cracking on, isn't it? It's shutting down at the minute, I feel like. So I spoke to the head GP as well, and he said that he was really going to look into the Ehlers-Danlos thing, see if it would tie up any things, whether it would help in any way. And if it would, he's going to potentially look at me getting genetic testing. For some types of Ehlers-Danlos, it can show up in a genetic blood test. But I think the hypermobility type, I'm not sure it does. But anyway, it's a step in the right direction.
It is.
So now I am waiting to see. Who am I seeing, Lucy?
Yeah, man, you've seen quite a few people.
Everyone. So. I'm waiting to see the chronic fatigue team. So they've sent me to the chronic fatigue team before the chronic pain team, just because of other things going on with my health. I've had like funky bloods, random things happen, and they've said basically that the chronic fatigue clinic is now under the rheumatologist who I originally saw, who's really good. So they're like, to get you back into his direction in that kind of place, we're going to send you to the chronic fatigue team first. They will also run like more bloods, more different things, and it might just get me in the right direction. I'm also going through, what's it called, like TIMS. So it's basically kind of like they'll see you for like physio, stuff like that, but they can also get you like request further scans and things like that. And also I am waiting for counselling, aren't I? So the first GP said she wanted me to get counselling, but she said, you know, to help you through this and to also like kind of help you accept your life. But the second one I spoke to, the head GP for the surgery, like put it in such a better way, and he was just like, look, like I truly believe, which I believe too, that your mental health really affects your physical health, and your physical health really affects your mental health, and that you know, when you're going through something like this, which is so draining on you mentally and physically, he said, you know, I think you should be getting care from all angles, not just the physical, the mental as well. So that's what we're currently waiting for. And I'm also back on medication, so I've just started back on nortriptyline just a few days ago, wasn't it, Roo? So we don't fully know the effects yet. And
you haven't had that for a few years now? Like,
yeah, I had it many years ago.
Quite a few, yeah.
I'm like in your face here, I'm so sorry.
Sure. I mean, I got gloves on because I was about to season my chicken, you know. So
I didn't know you had gloves on. I'm like, what?
I was getting prepared to season my chicken.
He's about to season chicken for our tea.
We're going to get you fixed, Laura.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
So I'm back on nortriptyline. I didn't want to be on medication, did I? Because I find it just like gives me other like side effects and other things going on. But
and you don't want to like rely on medication every time.
I hate doing that.
What I mean?
So
drugging yourself up.
but I've found just like I broke down last week, didn't I? Like even like the week before I'd spoken to, well no, it was this week kind of, no, last week now, it's Monday,
and last night a little bit,
and last night I was in agony. I was in bed just rolling around in pain, wasn't I, crying. But last week I was trying to help myself out, so I was saying earlier, like I've got all this different apparatus, don't I, to try and stretch and heat and a massage gun and all these things to really try and help myself.
It's not really working that much, is it?
Nah, and I was lying on the floor, wasn't I, like on my like, I've got this spiky mat thing that like goes in my back, and I was doing all these stretches and stuff, and I just burst into tears, and I rang the doctors and I was like, yeah, I know I've said I don't want the meds. But I've got to a point where I think I need, for now, I don't want to be on it forever if possible, I think I need something to help me get to a place of functioning so that I can help myself better. Because in the midst of all of this, wanting the right diagnosis and having this other help through the doctors and stuff, I believe you've got to help yourself in these situations, and I want to really work on building up exercise slowly. You know, one of the main things, whether my diagnosis is correct or not, is building the muscle around your joints to really support the fact that the struggle, it's like the partial dislocations and stuff are getting worse as well. Like my hip went a few times the other week, didn't it?
Yeah.
So when this happens, Rosie wasn't here, I was home alone, and I had to ring my mum, and I was like, so it basically, I can literally just be sitting down. Are you going back to greasing your chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, bye, love you.
Love you too.
I can literally just be sitting down, I stand up, and my hip can just like go, and basically I can't put any weight on that leg and I can't walk. This is like how bad it is. Like sometimes I can't walk either because something feels like it's partially dislocated, and it can pop back in, it can not, you don't know. But also it's just how in pain and fatigued my joints and muscles get, that sometimes if I've been standing too much at work one day on a shoot, the next day I can barely stand up, and I walk around. Videos of like, you know, like women have just given birth and they're like walking like they've pooed their pants. Like my pain in my, hi Baloo, in my feet and my ankles and my legs, as well as the rest of me, but that means like I can barely walk on my legs, like on my feet. It's that excruciating. Like that's how some of my days are, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. I do want to do amazing things, and I think this has stopped me doing more with my career. Like there is more things that I could have done, but I have to constantly think, oh god, can I manage this, can I manage that? If I go and do this, like if I go and shoot abroad, I need like a week off afterwards because I'll crash and burn and I'll sleep for like 3 days. Like, and it's really sad that I can't. Every day is hard. I'm hiding my face because I do an ugly Kim K cry face. But I'm just really drained. I know there's probably, you know, more to it's 24/7 draining, and you can't just do what you want to do. Like, it's debilitating, and I think I've fought for so long to not let it be for me, and I've got to a point where it's just so hard to push through. I need help with it. I need to help myself too.
So right, we gonna do something about it.
Yeah. Did all this makeup just to ruin it?
Yeah, but she's the strongest woman I've seen so far.
Why, thank you.
So far.
So far.
Yeah.
I'm fucking knackered, that's what I am. I'm tired of being a strong woman. I don't want to play that game anymore. But yeah, I'm just going on a bit of a journey right now. I am very much struggling physically and mentally, and I really want to take a step back from everything and take some time to look after myself and really get myself to where I need to be, along with all of the doctor stuff. So this is where I am. I'm going to follow along with this journey online. So I thought I'd kick off with this video just kind of explaining everything first. I really appreciate everyone who's been like messaging on Instagram, who are going through similar things, or just people who have been really supportive and understanding. It's honestly so nice, and yeah, I think a lot of the time I don't put all of this out there, but I think it's time to. I might look like a whinge bag, some people might not like it, but you can piss off. Chronic pain and fatigue crew, come through. We've got this, we're on a journey. Speak to you all soon.